faithfully delivering value by exploring the world's best books.
Hello, this is Sally's Book Talk.
Today, the book we're interpreting for you is The One-Page Business Plan. The author of this book is Lai Li, an American serial entrepreneur who has successfully launched many ventures. Like most entrepreneurs, when Lai Li prepared a project, she'd bring a business plan to pitch to various investors. A business plan is essentially an introduction to a project. Big shots get to know a project through the business plan and decide if it's worth investing in. Typically, a business plan is detailed and polished, covering nearly everything investors care about, like market analysis, product or service intros, operational strategies, management team, profit forecasts, financial analysis, risk assessments, and more. Plus, it includes tons of data and charts. Lai Li did the same at first. She'd thoroughly outline her ideas, often writing dozens of pages, then painstakingly deliver the brick-thick business plan to the big shots' desks and wait at home for news. But the result? Hope turned into disappointment. Those plans sank like bricks. If the story had gone on like this, Lai Li might not have made it. And we wouldn't have this book to share with you today. Fortunately, Lai Li met a benefactor, Adnan Khashoggi, the legendary Saudi Arabian businessman, a billionaire who graced the cover of Fortune magazine. Adnan met her on his yacht. Months earlier, Lai Li had sent Adnan a 50-page business plan. After the meeting, she was overjoyed, ready to dive into the details. But Adnan told her he was initially interested in the project, but after seeing the plan, he got hesitant. He'd already handed the plan to his advisors to review, and Lai Li felt crushed. Once a big shot takes a business plan off their desk, it's probably gone for good. Just as Lai Li was about to leave, Adnan unexpectedly gave her a priceless piece of advice. Adnan told her, "You should prepare a one-page business plan." Why would this billionaire say that? He wasn't just blowing smoke. In Adnan's career, he'd submitted plans to the most powerful and wealthy folks, kings, presidents, the CIA, Fortune 500 CEOs, and he'd invested in 1,500 companies, seeing all kinds of business plans. Adnan told Lai Li, "Oh, my success today owes a lot to that one-page business plan." Lai Li's problem was her plan wasn't concise enough. Guys like Adnan are swamped. Every day, all sorts of people show up asking for cash or help, so no time or energy to wade through a massive file. My Lai's 50-page plan wasn't flawed. But hey, a smarter way to chat with investors is to send a brief version before dumping the whole thick book. How short, you ask?
Just one page. Use it to hook the investor's eye and spark interest. Save the full detailed version for later chats.
Oh, Adnan's words really lit a fire under Lai Li. Next, Adnan spilled all the beans, showing Lai Li exactly how he crafted those one-page plans back in the day. Back home, Lai Li dug in deeper, rounding up successful plans from history. And wow, she saw they all stuck to a clean, basic format. Mixing Adnan's know-how with her own digs, Lai Li cooked up a whole system for writing one-page business plans. With this trick up her sleeve, Lai Li nailed tons of projects, like repping Sony stuff in Japan and shooting a flick in Hollywood. Built commercial real estate in Connecticut, and yeah, started a top-notch job site. Her business was booming. Later on, Lai Li visited a Silicon Valley honcho's office, spotted a pile of thick, glossy plans on the shelf, barely touched. She realized those young founders were just like her old self, clueless on wowing investors. Lai Li decided to lend a hand by sharing her writing secret openly. So that's how we got the book we're diving into today. A one-page plan doesn't just kickstart your business. You can use its tricks for resumes, work updates, optimizations, and all sorts of apps. It makes chatting with your target readers way more efficient. Nowadays, writing a one-page plan is a must-have skill for work and life.
All right, next up, we're going to unpack this book's gems in 4 parts for you.
Part 1, prepping the plan. Part 2, writing the first draft. Part 3, revising and finalizing the plan. Part 4, how to submit the business plan. First, let's cover Part 1, preparing the plan. Don't be fooled. Just because a one-page plan is short doesn't mean it's easy to whip up. It needs to present a carefully thought-out case to seasoned professionals. Only through massive preparation, building deep knowledge, can you achieve that knockout effect. The foundation is gathering materials, getting a grip on every aspect of your project. For instance, what's the industry, field, and location of your project? What are its strengths and weaknesses? Who are the competitors? How about your company and team? What processes does the product need? Cost and profit projections? What makes the service unique? Operational strategies, and so on. There are many channels to get relevant info. Here are 4 main sources for you. First, public publications like newspapers and magazines, especially government and industry association reports covering policies, trends, data, and company profiles. Second, annual reports of listed companies in your industry, packed with data, financials, competitive analysis, and market forecasts. Third, reports from market research firms, brokerages, investment banks, and similar institutions. These often include deeper analysis alongside the data. Fourth, targeted searches on specific topics using internet search engines. Additionally, Liley recommends checking government websites and, crucially, verify all data when collecting materials. Any data used must be cross-verified by 2 independent sources. Many investors know your topic better than you. If they spot wrong key data in your plan, it's basically dead on arrival. Beyond gathering materials, you must research your audience during preparation. Understanding investors' preferences lets you tailor the plan effectively. If they know your field well, skip lengthy industry introductions. If they're unfamiliar with the tech, elaborate more on background, products, and service processes. If they value social impact, add some charitable or community elements. Also, has the investor discussed similar projects? Which ones did he fund? Which did he reject? And why? If you uncover this info, it'll boost your success odds. After gathering materials, next step is outlining the plan's structure. The one-page plan has a fixed format with 8 sections: title, subtitle, goals, secondary goals, arguments, financial status, and action. The body, from goals to action, uses the most material and forms the core. So how do we organize this? Liley designed 5 steps. First, categorize materials by creating 8 digital folders, 1 for each section like title, subtitle, goals, etc. Then sort all gathered materials into these folders. Second, compress, review each folder's contents item by item. Eliminate non-essential materials. Third, prioritize materials in each folder by importance and relevance. This establishes logical flow. Fourth, transformative and synthesizing, condensing content. Starting with goals folder, summarize each material into 1 sentence, compiling these into a new document. After this, each plan section has a sentence list. If materials were well ordered in step 3, these sentences will naturally follow logical sequence. With these sentence lists, drafting becomes connecting them into paragraphs. Now the plan has a preliminary outline. Final step, review. Re-examine all materials for omissions or gaps in sentence lists. Check for logical jumps or missing evidence. Before official writing, take a breather for final holistic review. All right, with materials gathered and organized, prep work's done. Time for part 2, drafting. As mentioned, the one-page plan has 8 sections, each with specific purpose, strict content rules, and fixed writing order. Now let's dive into the specifics. Part 1 is the title, which communicates the plan's core theme.
Oh, the title needs the briefest language possible. Make people instantly grasp what this project is and what you're aiming for.
It doesn't need to be a full sentence. A simple phrase will do. For example, if developing a new electric car brand, the title could be The Brand Electric Vehicle Project. Documentation format-wise, center it on the top line. Must fit 1 line and grab attention. Use the largest font in the document. Avoid being cryptic or wordy. It's just a label that should be crystal clear and memorable. Part 2 is the subtitle, placed right below the title, no longer than 2 lines. It extends the title by adding key project details. Here, spotlight the project's core strengths or value to hook the investor's interest. Liley once pitched Sony's chairman Akio Morita for film funding with her wife.
Sony wanted to enter the US HD film market,
So Lai Li planned 6 low-budget films using Sony gear, showcasing their tech edge.
Her title was simple, HD Films, with an initial subtitle New Tech, New Cinema. That sounded like empty jargon with no real substance. If Morita saw it, he'd think, what's this American up to? How's it relevant to Sony? Lightly quickly fixed it with a killer subtitle, using new films to attract American consumers. Focusing on Sony's HD films made the tech impact crystal clear. Part 3 is goals, showing investors the project's outcomes and benefits. Place it below the subtitle. Indent 2 spaces, write goals, then elaborate. Center it around one main objective. Goals express your vision. But to win investor backing, you must also address their needs and desires. For example, here's how Lily wrote goals for Morita. By producing high-definition American films to help Japanese HD products dominate the U.S. market. Oh, this would certainly be Morita's wish. The fourth part of the plan is secondary goals. Beyond the main goal, a project often has other objectives. List them here with numbers like 1, 2, 3, each on a new line, as Lily requires. Secondary goals should be concise, no more than 5. They add icing on the cake, showing investors extra benefits and value. It's like selling a product, adding freebies makes buyers more likely to bite. Part 5 is arguments, proving your goals are achievable. In the previous sections, you stated the project's goals. For these goals, investors will have doubts. The arguments section predicts and answers them. Wiley designed a 3-part argument structure, each around 150 words. Lily calls the first part setting the stage, meaning she builds the foundation for the argument. This part mainly outlines the project's background. Why are you doing it? Here, you need to show investors that your goals are necessary and important. And let's look at a case. Lily submitted a plan to Duke Energy in the U.S. for solar business development. In the Setting the Stage section, she introduced the solar industry's scale and recent energy trends, showing that solar development is inevitable. With just a few sentences, she covered the background and why now is the time.
The core of the argument is the second part, called building pillars, symbolizing using indisputable facts and solid data as pillars to support the argument, listing your evidence from weakest to strongest.
List them one by one here. Lily once did a business plan for borrowing the U.S. Enterprise Space Shuttle to exhibit in Japan. In the Building Pillars section, Lily listed 3 pieces of evidence proving the project's feasibility. And first, strong partner, Japan's largest private TV network. Second, thorough logistics prep. The partner assembled a team with U.S. experts. Third, massive exhibition promotion. Ensure a successful display. The partner plans to provide extensive media resources. Presenting these 3 pieces of evidence in sequence creates a compelling argument. The third part, called the pitch, builds on the first 2 sections as setup. But so, this third section concludes and summarizes your case. 2 key points to note about the arguments section. First, Lily named each part to help us understand the structure, but these names shouldn't appear in the actual document. Second, timing considerations are crucial in the arguments section. Does your project have a deadline? Do investors need to decide by a specific date? If so, state it clearly. The 6th part is finance. This is where you crunch the numbers.
Detail all costs and required budgets, project future revenues, their sources, timelines, estimated amounts, and growth rates.
Also predict financial risks. How funds will be supervised, handling cost overruns, need for additional financing concisely, potential revenue delays, etc. Financial analysis shouldn't cover everything. Focus on what's relevant to your project. Ultimately, make investors feel you're responsible with their money. The 7th part is current status, showing investors the project's progress. For example, has funding been invested, other participants, contracts signed, obstacles encountered? Be transparent, don't sugarcoat. If you've achieved results, highlight them all. It's a major advantage. The 8th part is action. After presenting your case through 7 sections, clearly state in 1 sentence what you need from investors. Be direct but reasonable. But all right, write these 8 parts in order to complete your draft. Remember, their sequence is fixed. All right, now let's tackle part 3, revising and finalizing the plan. Once the draft's done, your main points are basically locked in. But there are probably 2 areas needing tweaks: length and wording. First up, length. A one-page plan must strictly fit one page. Even if your draft runs half a page over, you gotta compress it. So where do we start trimming? Focus on 5 spots. First, drop interesting but unnecessary facts. Maybe some project detail fascinates you or feels personal. But if it doesn't help investors grasp the core or boost persuasiveness, cut it decisively. Like an investor planning an app. Naming it was fun, so he added a whole explanation. That's unnecessary. Trim it. Second, delete repeats and wordy fluff. For instance, if your plan says, the reason why we all need this product is because, just shorten it to, we made this product because, take this. Today, modern business issues lie in, today and modern are redundant. Just say modern business issues lie in. Third compression point, drop obvious stuff.
Sometimes investors know a field well. No need to over-explain background.
Like pitching Jack Ma. Skip explaining e-commerce payment flows. Put yourself in their shoes. Review the whole plan from the investor's view. Spot anything insiders already know. If found, delete it. Don't let investors think you're a rookie rehashing old news. Fourth compression point, axe adjectives, adverbs, and other fluff. The trick? Pick precise nouns and verbs. Descriptors often add little. For example, one plan described the setting. This area will become a beautiful garden blooming with thousands of gorgeous roses. In that sentence, beautiful and gorgeous, both adjectives, can go. Just say it'll become a rose garden. The fifth compression point is cutting unnecessary details. Business plans aren't novels. Skip vivid scene descriptions. The author saw a community renovation plan listing every shop from 20 years ago. Clearly, the writer did thorough research, but listing it all is overkill. Just say various shops nearby. Once compressed to one page, next step, refine the wording. Lai Li has 4 tips. First, use third person throughout. For instance, when mentioning the project, avoid saying, our project. Instead, say the project. This makes the plan feel objective, not like a promo flyer. Second, keep language positive and strong. Use active voice over passive, affirmative over negative. For example, one plan said, your company is one of 2 or 3 we can turn to. That sounds desperate. What would investors think reading it? Am I one of the only fools left? Same idea, better spin. Your visionary company, by joining this project, can lead industry innovation again. Same message, totally different feel for the reader.
Lily's third tip, avoid hype. Convince with business logic and credible gains.
If you sound like a snake oil salesman, who'd trust you?
So without solid proof, don't claim it.
Words like best or most advanced? Better play it safe. Lily's final tip, proofread, avoid awkward sentences, and use punctuation right. All right, after 2 rounds of edits, your one-page plan's content is set.
One last step, format for visual appeal.
First, use standard business fonts. Avoid quirky ones that look unprofessional and distract.
Second, font size. Neither too big nor too small, fits less text or hard to read.
Typically size 10.5 or 12 works. Use single spacing or 1.5 if content is light.
Finally, leave ample white space around the document. Margins of at least 2.5 centimeters on all sides.
If content doesn't fit, margins can shrink slightly, but never below 1.3 centimeters. While plans are often emailed, the author recommends printing copies for unexpected needs. For print copies, use standard A4 paper, avoid letterheads or decorative watermarked stock. Opt for quality paper and laser-printed black ink, no color. When mailing, don't fold it, flat pack in a rigid envelope. All right, that covers revisions and production.
Finally, part 4, how to submit your plan and win support.
Cold emailing plans to random companies rarely works. Investors ignore unsolicited approaches. Want to be taken seriously? Find the actual decision maker. Ideally, meet them in person first, briefly pitch your plan, then hand it over for deep review. No meeting? A phone call still works well. Big shots won't chit-chat. They'll likely ask, What's this about? Immediately. Don't ramble or improvise, it'll backfire. What to do? Lily's trick. Read your plan's goals aloud, then offer to send it for review before discussing details. When mailing the plan, add a sticky note recalling your chat. This frames it as a follow-up, boosting importance.
What if they say no interest on the call?
No problem. Email a thank you note with your one-page plan attached. Say you're open to talk if their perspective shifts. Then regroup and pitch the next prospect. Getting your plan to a decision maker is half the battle, but you'll face another test, winning them over in follow-up meetings to secure funding. This largely depends on whether your project is truly attractive and aligns with the investor's needs. Many factors influence this beyond just language and writing skills.
Still, Lily shares tips to boost your meeting performance.
First, memorize your plan cold. Practice your pitch relentlessly at home. You never know where they'll start, so know every detail to respond instantly.
Second, show your passion. Investors often value commitment more than the idea itself.
Convey absolute belief in your project's viability during discussions. Paint the success scene. Describe its exciting impact when it wins. Finally, rejection isn't the worst outcome. At least you get clarity. The real nightmare, when they're non-committal. Is your project weak or are they hesitant? Lily's solution. Propose giving them days to think, then schedule a follow-up. If they dodge then, move on to better prospects. All right, that wraps part 4. We've covered all book essentials. Quick recap. Writing a one-page plan involves 4 steps.
Step 1. Prep thoroughly. Gather project and investor intel, then outline your plan.
Step 2. Draft. Follow the 8-section format with specific purposes and rules. Step 3. Revise and produce. Compress to 1 page, refine wording, and format cleanly. Finally, print formally on plain paper with black ink. Step 4 is submitting the plan. First, briefly discuss with investors, then formally submit it. This way, they'll take it more seriously. Before the meeting, memorize your plan and rehearse thoroughly. Einstein said, "Everything should be made as simple as possible, but not simpler."
This book introduces exactly that, a simple yet powerful writing method.
Well, whether launching startups, job hunting, or navigating work scenarios, we often need others' backing. In these moments, remember today's method. It'll help you communicate swiftly and persuade effectively. All right, that concludes our journey through the one-page business plan. Reading notes are below the audio. See you tomorrow.